The man in the prisoner's box cut a familiar figure to some people in the courtroom. Bruce McArthur's brief court appearance on first-degree murder charges relates to the disappearances of Selim, Esen, and Andrew Kinsman. This friend of Kinsman also has a slight connection to McArthur.
I don't know him personally, but I know people who know him, who've gone on vacation with him, so it's weird to think that it was just that close. So I wanted to see his face.
The man whose Facebook page included photos of his stint as a mall Santa is still the subject of an intense police investigation. Forensics officers and detectives have been searching 5 locations connected to McArthur. They include his high-rise apartment in East Toronto, this rural property where he sometimes stayed about 200 kilometers outside the city, and this house in Toronto's suburban Scarborough area. It's owned by the same man who owns the rural property. Neighbors say McArthur was often there with a relative of the owner.
I know you always say that in these types of situations, but I felt he was warm and inviting and engaging, and I allowed him to talk to my children, which I feel a little shocked about now.
Police have not yet found the bodies of the missing men, and they believe there are other victims. Police had already been probing the disappearances of 3 other men connected to the gay village. Skandaraj Navaratnam, Abdul Basir Faisi, and Majid Kayhan disappeared between 2010 and 2012. El Farouk Kaki is an immigration lawyer and LGBT community activist who drew attention to those earlier cases. He says at the time, police told the community there was no connection between the 3 men's disappearances, similar to what they said about Kinsman and Esen just a few weeks ago.
This would suggest that this is a pattern and that there's a connection. And those of us who are involved in community are now, if we didn't make the linkages back in 2010, 2012, 2013, are certainly making those linkages now, right?
Toronto police have stopped officially commenting, which is customary once court proceedings begin. McArthur is due back in court on February 14th. Ron Charles, CBC News, Toronto.
For the families of Selim, Esen, and Andrew Kinsman, the arrest was the development they had been waiting for, but also painful confirmation that their loved one was gone forever. We heard more today from Andrew Kinsman's sisters, who never stopped searching for him. They spoke with the CBC's Esen about how they're feeling today.
The Kinsman sisters share the same positive disposition as their brother Andrew. They were close.
We would always pretend he was our baby.
They had 49 years worth of memories before Andrew Kinsman vanished.
When did you start losing hope?
Karen and I differ on that. Yeah. I knew in my heart that on June 26, when he went missing and was reported missing 3 days later, he would never leave his 17-year-old cat. Deep down, I sort of knew, and Karen was a little different than me.
Yeah, I mean, you fear that they're dead, but you hope that, he's had a medical emergency. He's just decided on a whim to take off with someone and, spend a week away.
If he had been gone for a walk and fell, he would have been found. Yeah. If he had had a heart attack walking up Yonge Street, he would have been found.
After 7 months of putting up missing posters and ground searches, Patricia Kinsman's fears were sadly realized.
I don't think there's closure.
Megan Marion was the first to report Andrew missing.
I want the best of Andrew present in my life and in my community till I'm done.
The whole community is still wrestling with the unknowns. Where is his body and how was he killed? The suspect was a familiar face in the neighborhood.
The culprit, I've encountered him a few times through the community, and I think everybody's at ease now. I just want this whole thing resolved one way or another. Justice will have its rewards.
Meanwhile, the families of other missing men in the neighborhood are left to wonder when or if they'll get some answers too. Esen, CBC News, Toronto.